So last time was quite surprising how tense and uh, quite scary, to be honest. I mean, I knew what the premise was going to be based on the synopsis, but still it was quite... I didn't expect how gruesome it would be right off the bat. I expected some more build-up, so uh, yeah, I'm really curious um, how the story unfolds now. So let's continue. I glared at my self-titled minimum attendance shift chart. Yesterday I didn't get to watch the red shoot in real time, but after that I watched it on mute too. Oh god. So it wasn't a real problem. Also, yesterday when I recorded my latest Steins Gate episode, it actually mentioned the events in this game, which was a very creepy coincidence. Even after watching it, something still felt wrong. What Shogun said right before I closed the chat window. It was almost as if he had seen through the fact that I cowered in fear of God's gaze. It was too much of a mere coincidence. Maybe my personal information was leaked on ESO. Maybe it was someone who didn't like Nightheart. I thought about the different possibilities. A godlike existence like mine has many allies, but also many enemies. Well, the enemies were basically a kind of side effect from the popularity. Of course they'd be there. People who envied Nightheart's strength and popularity childishly tried to provoke me. It was just a matter of ignoring them. But this was different. The fact that I had no clue who Shogun was worried me to the point where when I logged into ASO I couldn't concentrate at all on hunting. On top of it all, today was...
最悪の日だ。
worst possible day. It was a school day. According to my minimum attendance shift chart, I had to go. I really did want to, but if I didn't go by my minimum attendance shift chart, my calculation would get messed up, and in the worst case scenario, I might have to repeat the year.
眠いのに。
I thought of a yawn and trucked off towards school. It takes about 10 minutes to walk from my base to school. I love how he calls it a base, while it's just a shipping container. My mood sank lower as soon as I started walking. My body felt heavy, it was hard to breathe, and I started to sweat. It was always like this when I go to school. Why do I have to go to school? It's such a painful event. Muttering balefully to myself, I kept moving my feet towards all the same. Heading down watching the asphalt's white line. I entered Choto Park, the school's right on the other side. Housewives took their morning walks, and salarymen sat on the benches reading sports newspapers around the park's pond. Even though Shibuya was so crowded and noisy, the park on the outskirts was quiet and perfectly fit the expression, a place for relaxation. I sat down on one of the benches too. On the way to school, it was a habit of mine to eat breakfast while gazing at the surface of the pond, brimming with serene water. It was a nice time of year, and the trees were gradually gaining color. Today's menu was some breakfast bread I bought at a convenience store along the way. It would be enough to tide me over until night. One meal? Seriously? I wouldn't normally eat lunch. Nobody wanted to eat lunch with a creepy otaku like me, and I had no interest in eating lunch by myself while everyone around me merrily ate together. After finishing my cream-filled bread with some coke, I gazed listlessly up at the sky. Somehow the skies of Shibuya always appear drab. It doesn't matter what season it is, the sky doesn't change. Maybe because we're in the visual novel. My parents' house was only a few stations down along a river, but there's a distinctly different feeling between there and here. That said, I kinda like the dullness of the sky, although I really don't know why. I glanced at my watch to check the time. If I didn't get along soon, I'd be late. I had to avoid that at all costs. As someone who only goes to school 2.5 times a week, I couldn't do anything to make myself stand out. In any case, it was important just to be there, kinda like the air. To safely and peacefully make it through the day without catching the eyes of the teachers or any delinquent types, and without having to anyone interfere with me. That was the goal of my school life. I attend my private academy. It doesn't have much of a history. I hear that it was founded about 10 years ago. The building is neat and trim looking, and a lot of TV dramas about teaching are shot there. The uniforms were apparently designed by a famous designer, so quite a few of the girls are airheads who entered the school just because they wanted to wear the uniform. It's obstinately a prep school, but the percent of people who continue on to college is at the up middle level. Hilariously though, we use the blurb "our free creative school atmosphere" as a selling point for new students, regardless of the fact that the school regulations are very strict. Although the rules are in the process of becoming rules only in name. Besides, it isn't even entirely off the mark to describe it as a free creative atmosphere, I guess. After all, someone like me, who only comes 2.5 times a week, can keep rising to the next grade like anyone else. As might have been expected, when I reached the front of the school, the older students on the way there started getting noisy. But since I'm not good with crowds, I hunched over as I passed through the school gates. In my heart, I went over fervently, reciting, "No one talk to me, no one talk to me," over and over. My little sister, who's 1 year younger, goes to this school too, but she lives with my parents. A day when I run into her is a tragic day indeed. Luckily today I managed to get to my classroom without encountering her, and in one piece. I quickly took my seat, so as not to meet anyone's eyes. I had the feeling that the group of girls chatting nearby tossed me a look, but it was only for a second, and I went back to their conversation without saying anything. He deep down viewed me as a creep, no doubt about it. From my point of view, 3D girls are far more creepy. It's fine by me if they think I'm a creep. If they don't notice I am here, all the better. If they just do that, then I'll go on living in silence without giving them any trouble. I often wonder what's wrong with the people who call me creepy. I don't get it. It's almost like they want the attention of the people they're calling creeps. I was in my seat, just hunched over my desk, staring at the surface. Suddenly someone smacked me light on the back. It startled me and I raised my head. Oh god, I hope I'm going to pronounce it correctly. My classmate, Misumi Deskun, was giving me a grin. He was pretty good looking and all the girls seemed to like him. He himself openly declared how much he liked women. And for him to say he was dating several people at once. From my perspective, he was a guy who jumped fully into delinquent territory. If possible, I'd have preferred not to have any connection to him at all, but... Maybe. He was the only person in the entire class who talked to me. I wonder why he always started talking to me. Our hobbies and personalities aren't Oh, I think that's a bit of mistranslation. Aren't even slightly similar. It had been on my mind since we became classmates this year. If I were a girl, I would kind of understand, but being a guy, I don't know why he talked to me.
引きこもりだからしゃあねえかもしんねえけどよ。もっとこうハキハキ答えろって。
If I could, I would have done it a long time ago. It was almost painful for me to talk to a 3D human being. Anxiety keeps my voice from coming out properly. Since I don't normally talk much, I can't articulate myself well through speech. And I shrink back because I'm scared I might say something stupid and be made fun of. I wish people wouldn't talk about stuff like they know nothing about. You have no clue how hard it is for me. Oh, but no. Hikikomori is someone who shuts himself up in his room 24 hours a day. 365 days a year. I'm different. But not that much different.
女相手に緊張するならともかく、そういう態度されると、俺らホモと思われるじゃねえか。
Hold up, he really doesn't like girls. And he's really into guys? In a hurry to put some distance between us, I pulled away. I almost fell out of my chair. Flustered, I had to grab onto my desk.
何してんだお前。
水見君はホモなの？
え？なわけねえだろ。お前、俺の女好きを忘れたのか？
だよね。はあ、ビビった。
ちなみに。
Isumi-kun quickly checks out our surroundings, grinned, and lowered his voice.
このクラスの女子で3人目を落とした。誰だか聞きたいか？
いいよ、別に。
だよ、もっと興味示せよ。田中だぜ、田中。
田中って誰？
お前、もうすぐ10月だって。未だに同じクラスのやつの顔を覚えてね。
Well, if you only come to school 2.5 times a week and don't have any interest in other people, well...
ま、3次元に興味ないんじゃ、それも当然か。
Exasperated, he shrugged his shoulders and let out a sigh. However, up until the present, he had never once belittled me for my hobby, that is, the fact that I love 2D characters. He didn't call me creepy or anything. It wasn't to his taste, so he didn't overstep himself. Looking at that side of him, he didn't seem like such a bad guy. This might have been why I unintentionally fell into conversations with him whenever he started talking to me.
これでうちのクラスの可愛い女はほぼ攻略完了だ。そろそろ隣のクラスに守備範囲を広げようかって思ってんだよ。
Maybe he isn't that good of a guy after all. If the girls overheard this, I think they'd be appalled.
D 組によ、めったに学校来ねえけど、すごくいい女がいるらしいんだよ。なんか、そういう、燃えねえか。あ、お前の場合は燃えるんじゃなくて、燃えだっけか
I wish people wouldn't toss around the word Norway without knowing what it means.
ま、お前の興味ねえ話はそろそろやめるか。じゃあよ、ニュージェネの話知ってるだろ。
Oh, here we go. Honestly, it surprised me to hear those words coming out of his mouth and the music stopped. I had thought he was a person who didn't think much about anything other than women. I couldn't picture him watching the news or reading the paper.
集団ダイブの事件さ。あれも 噂によると殺人らしいぜ。
へえ。
マジだって書いてあったんだよ、スポ島に。
So his source was a sports newspaper. Wouldn't that make it completely unreliable? How so? I mean, newspapers are still newspapers, and as long that they're not just pure gossip, then they would have some sort of reliability, I assume. I mean, some newspapers are more reliable than others, but still. Besides, I'd already heard that news, not that it had got my interest.
で、聞いて驚け。その殺人鬼が女で、しかもかなり美人だって目撃証言があんだよ。
女。
As I watched Misumi couldn't tell me this excitedly, the dots finally connected. I saw why Misumi-kun had suddenly started reading the sports paper, which he normally wouldn't have given the time of day, because it's a girl who is doing those things, at least according to the rumors. It had to do with a girl. I guess you could call it a natural development. Would he be cool with the murderer soon, as long as she was cute? Speaking for myself, I would be okay if she were a 2D character, but you know, there's a very distinct line between fiction and real life, so Timmy cast his eyes at the blue sky beyond the window. His face took on a far-off look. Why is he looking like he just achieved enlightenment or something?
どんなやつなんだろうな、犯人って。本当に美人なのかな。会ってみて。
Speaking of creepy, I find such behavior kind of creepy, to be honest. I mean, if she is a murderer, since we don't know anything yet, then it doesn't really matter what she looks like. If she's a murderer, then it's just no. Just now, I became certain of the fact that this is a guy who lives solely through the lower half of his body. Yep.
俺だけは殺されねえ自信があんだよな。だってほら、俺ってかっこいいだろ。いくら連続殺人鬼でも、俺みたいないい男に会ったら、コロッと惚れちゃうぜ。
Yeah, and she turns out to be a yandere, and the soon as you cast eye upon another girl, she kill you. So, nope. That's why you won't get killed. The frivolity of his train of thought whooshed clear over my expectations. I reeled back from Misumi-kun, who proved himself able to say such a thing breezily and without hesitation.
僕は興味ないから。
でもよ、興味ないっつったって、犯人は絶対この辺うろうろしてんだぞ。どっかですれ違ってたりするかもしんねえし。
What if Misumi-kun were the killer? No, I could certainly rule that much out, but I couldn't completely deny the possibility that it was one of the students here. If that were the case, maybe I should say I have post-traumatic stress disorder to maneuver my way into graduating even with insufficient attendance.
な、今日俺と一緒に殺人現場見に行かね。ここから歩いて行けんだってよ。まだ血とか残ってるらしいぞ。
What the hell are kids these days? They're not worried at all? What is this? I had absolutely zero interest in doing so. All I wanted to was to peacefully and safely take my classes, hurry up and go home. Read my Saraton, return to the world where I can become a god.
もう小橋と長谷川は見に行ったって言ってたしよ。
本当に興味ないんだ。
What's that noise? I felt bad for turning down Misumi, who was getting so into it. because I couldn't go along with this. So I squeezed out my voice with the intention of somehow refusing him, but he wouldn't listen.
そしたら犯人とばったり会っちゃったりしてな。犯人は犯行現場に戻ってくるってよく言うだろ。
What's that noise? Seriously?
で、次はタクがターゲットにされるんだ。死をもって罪を償うみたいな。罪状はそうだな。引きこもってたからってことで。
僕は引きこもりじゃ。
Offended by how Mr. Kun had put it, I started to protest, but when I began to question what it would do, if my saying that made him dislike me and bully me, and in the end I only swallowed my words. I bit my lip and turned my face away from Mr. Kun. Line of sight wandered aimlessly and I gazed vaguely at the words written on the blackboard. At first, I had no interest in what it said. All I recognized was the fact that words had been drawn there. But as I gazed at it, an odd discomfort rose up inside me. I had already sprung up from my chair.
ちょっとどいて。
おい、どうしたんだよ。
What's with the creepy sounds? Seeing Mr. out of the way, I went up to the blackboard. Seeing the letters written there, I fell into the illusion that for an instant my heart seized up, as though someone had squeezed it. What? Whose eyes are... Those were the words I often murmured in my heart when I sensed God's gaze. I never let them out of my mouth. I had no one to speak them to. I'd never either said it to me, and there was no way anyone in this class knew that I often used those words. Who? Why? To what end? I went around and looked around the classroom. The only one paying attention to my behavior was Mr. All the others were eagerly jabbering to their friends or reading manga that they were forbidden to bring here in the first place, or plastered flat against their desk and sleeping. Who was it? Who wrote this? When did they write it? Had it already been written there back when I first entered the classroom? I couldn't remember. Normally I'm not at all conscious of what's written on the blackboard.
なあ、どうしたんだ?
I'm still wondering what the hell that creepy sound was in the background just a few minutes ago. What's that supposed to be? Walking up to me, Mr. Kun grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me.
聞いてる? おーい、ターク。
Whoever has written it, it surely had nothing to do with me. Obviously, it was just a coincidence. Commonly used words like these. It was just a stupid, pointless piece of graffiti. I shouldn't say graffiti. It had to be the case. I tried to make myself think that way, but no matter what, I was still uneasy. And this background music isn't helping. Ultimately, things would end without my knowing who's written it. If I could. I'd want to go around the class and ask everyone, but I lacked the courage. Homeroom started while I was still preoccupied with that, and the graffiti got swiftly erased by when the teacher said, "Okay, who did it? Who drew on the board?" Somehow I had an eerie feeling, but I aimed to comfort myself as usual. If I let it scare me, it would be the same as acknowledging the fact that there was some kind of message related to me. Which was impossible, it was a mere coincidence. Telling myself that over and over again, I followed my plans and headed for a net cafe on the way back from school. As I hated going out, At Cafe was my sole amusement spot. It was located at the edge of Shibuya shopping district, and as such, many of its customers were delinquent 3D girls or blurry salarymen. But all the rooms were meant for individual use, so it wasn't a problem. By the way, the room I was currently in, room 37, had been reserved for my use, and it was placed in the furthest back part of the store. It was inconvenient for going to get juice refills, but because not many people went into the nearby seats, it was relatively quiet. I went out of my way to come here once or twice a week on the way back from school in order to log onto ESO with a different ID. In other words, it was like taking a break. Night Heights was a little too well known. I didn't mind that, but having to be a paragon of heroic behavior day after day was pretty stressful. The one I used over here was a female character called Lieselot. However, Lieselot's battle history was pretty terrible. I only used her to make those around her look better in comparison. Today too, I released my stress by playing for about 3 laid-back hours. Afterwards, I chatted with my guild friends for a while, getting worked up over the stupid and/or arrow topics.